Hey Star Warriors, Geek here. Welcome to Star Wars Nitpicking. I've been told dozens of times that some of my recurring complaints about the saga might be described as whiny and pedantic. I'm gonna take this undesirable skill of mine and put it to good use. In today's episode, we're looking at spelling and pronunciation. Again, because I missed a lot the first time around. Every time that I've come to a name or phrase I've pronounced incorrectly in the past, I'll give myself a nitpick badge of shame. I'm carrying the points over from the last episode where I racked up 4 badges. Hopefully I won't add up too many more. Let's get going. To start this episode off, I have to talk about the most commonly mispronounced Star Wars name in the entire saga. This guy. I'm sure that you all recognize Lando Calrissian's Celestine co-pilot, but very few of you pronounce his name correctly. In fact, I didn't really know how to pronounce it before tackling this video. I looked into it for hours until I came to the final answer. Coming straight from the actor behind the mask, Mike Quinn himself told the world that the correct pronunciation of his name is Nine Numb. This is something that I definitely need to give myself a badge of shame for. Oh no! I've mispronounced this name my whole life, even correcting people who use the right term. I've always pronounced it Nien Nub, but I've been proven wrong. In fact, in my poll I posted to Twitter, most of you said that you pronounced it the same way I did, but I guess that some of you just knew better. The backstory behind the pronunciation is that he was a character who had no name during production, but since he was the 9th one down on a call sheet, he was dubbed Nine. They rearranged some letters and added a last name, completing the titling process on the fly. Spelling Nine Numb's name has also been difficult for some fans. N-I-E-N-N-U-N-B. Just remember, it may sound like 9, but it's not spelled that way. Another extremely popular character whose name is often misspelled and mispronounced is the one and only Boba Fett. As much as you may argue, it's not Bubba. Say it with me. Boba Fett. Boba. Spelling is a little more straightforward. Just make sure that Boba is spelled B-O-B-A, and Fett has 2 T's, and you should be good to go.
Mr. Feet? Mr. Bob A. Feet?
Sure, whatever.
In the last episode, I thought that I had covered Anakin completely, but I guess not. Everyone's favorite nickname, Little Annie, is commonly misspelled. You don't spell out Annie like the name, but like a shortened version of Anakin, just A-N-I. This guy's name isn't Count Dooku, or Count Dooku. Count Dooku's name seems to be very hard to grasp for some fans. Spell the name as D-O-O-K-U, and pronounce it as Dooku. Anakin's apprentice in the popular Cartoon Network series, The Clone Wars, is victim to dozens of different spellings and pronunciations. Ahsoka Tano didn't start out as a fan favorite, and misspelling her name was like rubbing dirt in the wound. Her name is pronounced Ahsoka Tano, and spelled A-H-S-O-K-A-T-A-N-O. I've seen Ashoka pop up very often, so just be cautious when writing your next comment. Padme Amidala is a pretty difficult name to figure out. Her first name is spelled Padme, not Padme. There's also an accented E at the end. Even though it's really considered more optional than required, to be fully correct, the accented E is necessary. Her last name is pronounced Amidala, A-M-I-D-A-L-A. Jabba the Hutt is pronounced Jabba and not Jabba, and his last name has 2 T's. In the Marvel comic series, his name was only spelled with 1 T, which has caused some confusion in the community, but the official title needs that extra consonant. And speaking of Jabba the Hutt, his henchman is yet another character who can't seem to catch a break. Spelled B-I-B-F-O-R-T-U-N-A. Bib's last name is a troublesome topic. It may look like it's spelled similar to Fortune, but it isn't pronounced Fortuna. Bib Fortuna is the proper pronunciation. Even the Emperor himself can't escape the mispronunciations. I've never heard someone pronounce Palpatine's name as Palpatine in person, but I have heard some stories, so just make sure that you pronounce the end of his name as Teen, not Tyne. While most people just refer to the female protagonist in the original Star Wars trilogy as Princess Leia, some may know her last name to be Organa. Spelled O-R-G-A-N-A, the last name should always be pronounced Organa and not Organa. In the first episode of Star Wars Nitpicking, I talked about how to spell Chewbacca's nickname, but didn't really talk about his full name. The only rule you really need to remember is that there isn't a K or an O anywhere in Chewie's name. That means that it definitely isn't Chewbacca. C-H-E-W-B-A-C-C-A. Alright, have I finally covered everything to do with the Wookiees? Not really. In episode 4, we see Chewbacca playing a game of holo chess against R2-D2. But did you know that this game has a name? Spelled D-E-J-A-R-I-K. It's hard to pronounce this name. I always used to pronounce it Dejaric. I was putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. When I met the man behind Dejaric Creations at Emerald City Comic Con, I learned the true pronunciation of the iconic game to be Dejaric. Another popular Star Wars game that is difficult to pronounce is the one that Han Solo won the Falcon in a game against Lando. Some people incorrectly pronounce it as Sabak, while the correct pronunciation is Sabak. Regardless of how you say it, it's always spelled S-A-B-A-C-C. Moving on to some planets. The climactic battle at the end of episode 3, as long as it may be, takes place on an awesome looking lava planet. Spelled M-U-S-T-A-F-A-R. It should be pronounced Mustafar, not Mustafar or Mustafar. Mustafar. Tatooine is a famous movie location that everyone seems to be familiar with, but that doesn't mean they know how to spell it. There are too many misspelled versions of this name to even mention here, so I'm just going to tell you the proper spelling. T-A-T-O-O-I-N-E. Tatooine. And that's how it's spelled too, with 2 O's just like there are 2 suns. The beginning sounds just like tattoo, not to do. Tatooine is generally accepted, but that doesn't make it correct, and it's definitely not Tatooine. This last planet is one that was heavily requested in the comments of the last episode. The planet, entirely comprised of cities from the prequels, was a spectacle of early 2000s filmmaking. The spelling is what really messes fans up. C-O-R-U-S-C-A-N-T, tricks people into pronouncing it the extremely ugly sounding Coruscant. If you listen to the films, it becomes clear that the second C is silent. Coruscant. It makes for a very elegant sounding title. I missed a couple of vehicles last time I did a nitpicking episode, so let's clear this up once and for all. Darth Vader's flagship is one of the most menacing looking images in the entire saga, and it has one of the best names to go with it. The Executor is definitely one of a kind, and that is how it's pronounced, Executor, not Executor. Just remind yourself that next time you see it enter the screen in Empire. The Fett family ship is another iconic Star Wars design, but its name is troubling some fans. It's written out as S-L-A-V-E-I. This has split people apart, some saying that it should be said like Slave 1, and the others saying it should be pronounced Slave I. I can definitively tell you that the name of Boba's vehicle is the Slave 1, not the Slave I, because the I is a Roman numeral, representing the number 1. You wouldn't call the Phantom Menace Star Wars Episode I, just think about it like that. And finally, to end off this episode, I need to talk about one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to vocabulary in the Star Wars universe. Do you see this? This is a Jedi, a guardian of peace and justice in the galaxy. Do you see these? These are Jedi. Yes, multiple Jedi. The plural of Jedi has and always will be Jedi. 1 Jedi, 2 Jedi. Just like 1 sheep, 2 sheep, or 1 moose, 2 moose. Please, please don't say Jedis. The only case you can use Jedis is when you add an apostrophe and are referring to possession. The Jedi's lightsaber is yellow. 1 Jedi, 2 Jedi, red Jedi, blue Jedi. Alright, good, got it? Let's recap. 9 Nub is pronounced like the number. Don't drop the T's on Boba Fett. Little Annie, not Little Orphan Annie. Not Doku or Dooku, but Dooku. Ahsoka, not Ashoka. There's an accented E on Padme. Jabba the Hutt would feed you to the Rancor for calling him Jabba. Bib Fortuna isn't very fortunate. Palpatine like mean, not Tyne like wine. Leia Organa, not Leia Organa. There are no K's or O's in Chewbacca. Dejaric, not Dejaric, although holo chess works just as well. Han won the Falcon in a game of Sabak. Mustafar mustn't be pronounced Mustafar. Get a tattoo telling you how to pronounce Tatooine. Elegant Coruscant, not Coruscant. The Executor may act as an executor for the Empire, but it isn't pronounced that way. Slave 1, not Slave I. The Jedi were guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. I hope you all learned something new, and relieved your inner nitpicking. If you have any names that you've heard spelled or pronounced incorrectly, or have a totally different topic of Star Wars related pet peeves, please tell me in the comments. Maybe they'll end up in one of the next videos. Subscribe to Star Geek for weekly Star Wars content. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, please shoot that like button at light speed. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by clicking the links in the description, and you can check out my last video, a May the 4th celebration, if you just click on the thumbnail. You can also watch my last episode of Star Wars Nitpicking, covering many more common mistakes in spelling and pronunciation. Until we meet again in a galaxy far, far away, this has been Star Geek. For today's post-credit scene, I want to play a little game. I'm not very well versed in expanded universe knowledge, so I thought it would be interesting to see if I could figure out how to pronounce some of the most complicated EU names. Here goes nothing. Okay, first one. This is Isan Isard. Teneniel Joe. Joe. It's probably Joe. The D's silent, I'm guessing. It's Teneniel Joe. Gilid Paleon. Paleon, yeah. Gilid. It's Gilid Paleon. Dala. I think that one's right. Dala. I mean, what else could it be? Alright, this is Luke Skywalker's wife in the EU. I know that. Is it Mara or Mara? That's the thing. I think it's Mara Jade. It might be Mara Jade. Maybe Mara Jade. Mara Jade sounds a little more natural, but it might be Mara. I don't know. Shada Ducal. I know it's Ducal. Shada or Shada? I think Shada. Shada Ducal. This one must be Pwex or Pwex, but I mean, that sounds ridiculous, so it must be Pwex. Ta'chum. It's Ta'chum. Phelan Sandskimmer. Sandskimmer is an obvious one, but Phelan. Talon Card. Or is it Talon Card. Yeah, Talon Card. Tendra Risant. Tendra something that begins with R. Elegos Akla. Elegos. It's Elegos Akla. Akla. It's Elegos Akla. I mean, I don't know. This one's hard. Zenoma Sikot. Or Zenoma Sekot. Sikot. Zenoma something. Oh god, this one is, this looks interesting. Tlalak. It's a terrible name. Seriously, who wrote this? Who came up with this name? Tlalak. It's hard to say really quickly, too. Alright everyone, I'm pretty sure I totally butchered like all of those names, but you can correct me in the comments. So anyway, thanks so much for watching everyone, and may the farce be with you.